Hi guys, so welcome to my first video on this channel. If you know me from the Cat's Meow, which is my fashion and beauty channel, if you don't know me from there, but if you do know me from there, then you also know that I'm totally into books, and so I really wanted a channel where I could just talk about books because I love them so much. So I just wanted to do a book review on a book called Coma, which is written by Garland, who also did The Beach, The Tesseract, and 28 Days Later. So I just wanted to talk about that. So I got this book from a friend who is obsessed with Garland. She's read like everything of his, even though he only has like 3 actual novels, so that's not that hard. But she totally loves him, and so I read The Beach and I didn't like it that much, so she gave me this for my birthday and told me that I had to read this one and see if that changed my perspective on Garland, and it did. So I'll give you guys a brief summary of the plot of this book, and it basically follows a man who has been beaten up by a bunch of teenagers through his like post being beaten up by teenagers. So at first he's in the hospital and he can't tell if he was in a coma. The doctors told him that he's in a coma, but he can't tell if he's actually out of his coma, and all of these like weird things start happening to him and he can't remember certain things, and so it basically follows him throughout his journey figuring out if he was in a coma, if he wasn't in a coma, if he's currently in a coma, and what is reality versus a fiction of his imagination. So that being said, I don't want to tell you guys too much about the plot because you really have to just read this book to understand what's going on, and even when you do understand what's going on while you're reading this book, you really don't know what's going on. I know that's kind of hard to explain, but it's basically, I don't know if you've ever read a book where the ending just gets you. Like, you're reading the book and you're sympathizing with this character and you totally understand what's going on and you think you've got the whole book figured out, but the more that you think that you've got the book figured out, the less that you actually do, and it becomes apparent that that is what's been happening for the last 200 pages, around the last 10 pages. That's basically how this book is. And if you haven't read any of Garland's stuff, I want to say that this is a very different book than The Beach. I mean, they're kind of similar, but just the way that this is written, I feel like this is a much more mature book, and this book really, it just delves into things that people can definitely resonate with. It's not as odd, it's not as short feeling necessarily as The Beach, and I just really like the way that this book is written. I think that there's a lot of good symbolism, there's a lot of good metaphors, there's a lot of really relatable experiences with this character regardless of if you've been in a coma or not. Like, everyone's had that moment where they can't remember if that dream actually happened, or they think that they saw something out of the corner of the eye, or something like that, you know? And so I think that this book really, really takes you on a spin with that. Things I don't like about this book are also things that I do like about this book. The main thing that gets me about this book is that I don't know what happened when I read the end of the book, and I talked to my friend who also read this, and she said that she's read it 3 or 4 times, and she still doesn't know what really happened at the end of the book, and I like that and I don't. I like it because it keeps me thinking, and I've been thinking about this book weeks after I already read it, and there's also so many possibilities to what actually happened at the end. But I don't like it because I just want to feel satisfied at the end of reading a book, and I want to like know what happened, you know, like it's a cliffhanger kind of, not really, but it, you know what I mean, it like makes you think. So I like that and I don't. But yeah, all in all, I would say I would give this book 3 3/4 stars. I like really want to give it 4 stars, but I kind of don't at the same time, considering how many other books I'm really obsessed with. But I think that this book is really good, and the other really cool thing about this book is that there's illustrations in it. So I'll show you. So at the start of chapters, there's like these woodcut illustrations like this. And I just think that they really add to the book, because when you're reading a book and you see the illustration, if you think too much on the illustration, or if you're thinking about the illustration, you kind of sort of almost try to picture what is going on in the book or what the setting might look like. But since the character can't really tell if it's actually happening or not, it gets really interesting because you're just thinking about it over and over and over again, if that's what the setting actually looks like, if he's really seeing it that way, all this stuff, and it's very mysterious. There's lots of things that you don't know and things that you think you do, and I'm just being repetitive, but you get what I mean. And so I really recommend the Coma. I think it's a really great book, and yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. But feel free to subscribe to see the rest of my other book reviews. I think the next one I'm going to be doing is the book to film adaptation of The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which is my very, very, very favorite book. Well, not my very, very, very favorite book, but it's definitely one of my favorite books. It's like in the top 10, which is saying something. And it's one of my favorite top movies also, so I will definitely see you guys soon. Feel free to subscribe, and yeah, bye.